It was close. Believe me, it was super close. And I will always cherish Super S in my heart. So honestly, I cannot recommend both versions enough. Unlike a certain other arc that should be next on the line. Oh, just you wait. Alright, well, let's do this. "10 years ago, a Sailor Moon reboot was officially announced, given the title Sailor Moon Crystal. This reboot was going to mostly stay true to the original series Naoko Takeuchi made for the manga. It was basically a straight-to-the-point adaptation, unlike the episodic layout of the 90s version. This, however, made many Moonies debate which series was better by comparison. Despite being more faithful to the original story, many fans disliked Crystal for its fast pacing, cheap animation, and lackluster characters. And despite being longer and more memorable with its iconic and overly dramatic moments, the 90s version just ended up being more like a Saturday morning cartoon, complete with new monsters to face and character growths depending on their stereotyped personas. Now on my channel, I've done my best to compare each arc as fairly as possible, comparing the characters and the story progression just to give my take on which versions I prefer. Most of them were close calls, but I found myself favoring Crystal the most for its mature take on this story and these characters. And don't get me wrong, I freaking love the 90s version. It can be a slog to get through sometimes, but there's a ton of episodes that just stand out for all the best reasons. But on the other hand, there were a lot of cons that went against its favor, like the poor development of some characters, and the never-ending fillers that contributed nothing to the overall story. But remember, 90s baby! I have up until now covered every single arc from Dark Kingdom to Dream. We are now at the grand finale, the epic conclusion for one of the most iconic heroes in all of anime. This arc is the big one. The Sailor Moon magnum opus, if you will. The biggest arc compared to them all. An all-out war of Sailor Guardians versus Sailor Guardians. Of course, the 90s version was completely, absolutely, 100%ly different than the manga and Cosmos. But is it better? Did it give Sailor Moon the grand finale she deserved? Or... No, I'm not doing this. You want me to be fair and compare the pros and cons of Stars and Cosmos? No, it's not possible because holy hell, Cosmos was amazing! With its animation, story, and character growth, Cosmos blew Stars out of the frickin' water!
Did somebody say boom?
There was no competition, but am I gonna compare them still? Well, yeah, I gotta explain why I think Cosmos is a million times better and possibly my favorite film series of all time. And now, since Viz Media and Netflix finally took their sweet-ass time to release the English dub for all of us to enjoy, it is time. My final video comparing old versus new of Sailor Moon, even though I already told you who won, but nonetheless, here we go. Sailor Moon, Stars versus Cosmos. And this is the part of the video where I used to play the old intro song versus the new intro song. Kinda like, setting us up for this grand old video of comparing and contrasting, yada yada yada. But, copyright bots, they're a bitch. I hate everything about this. It would've been a cool intro. Just saying. I'll try to release the original copy of the intro that I had planned, but in the meantime, copyright bots can go to hell. If you remember in all of my old videos talking about Sailor Moon Stars, you may already know why I'm not too fond of this version of the story. This is supposed to be the grand finale for Sailor Moon, and yet it gets treated like every other season of Sailor Moon. How did it go again? Oh yeah. New enemy comes into town. New monsters are unleashed in the city searching for a MacGuffin. Sailor Moon gets a new power-up and/or new allies that may or may not be trusted. They work together to save the day. Lather, rinse, repeat until Galaxia is getting tired of your bullshit. Despite our heroes going against evil Sailor Guardians, it doesn't feel any significant or different than any other bad guy.
You're a Sailor Guardian? And you're evil? Okay, and? Hi, bitch.
To basically sum up this arc, and starting after Nehelenia is sealed away at the beginning of Stars. Go watch my video, Super S vs. Eternal, for an explanation. Okay, thank you, bye. Mwah. Mamoru's heading off to college in America, and he leaves an engagement ring for Usagi, promising they'll get married soon after he gets back. Yeah, I'm sure he's fine. While Usagi is left to wonder why Mamoru won't return her calls, a singing idol band called the Three Lights show up out of nowhere, taking the town by storm. Little does everyone realize, somehow, you'd think everyone would put two and two together. Okay, to be fair, it's a little bit different this time. The Three Lights are actually Sailor Guardians from a distant part of the galaxy, in search of their lost princess soon after their planet was destroyed. The person who destroyed their world is actually Galaxia, a power-hungry Sailor Guardian vowing to take every starseed in their galaxy to prove that she's the strongest Sailor Guardian. Naturally, she's aiming to find the starseeds of the Milky Way galaxy and must rely on her minions to find them. Naturally, the minions observe planet Earth that just happens to inhabit not one, not two, but 9 Sailor Guardians, and come up with a plan to find the most talented people on the planet for their starseeds. And the award for the dumbest villain in all of Sailor Moon goes to them! By default. And this is where the problem lies. The monster of the day shtick does not work with this story. Period. All of the minions are Sailor Guardians. They know for a fact that Sailor Guardians are the only ones powerful enough to possess incredibly strong starseeds. So why, just why, would they assume everyone else in Tokyo has a starseed except for the people that are literally and constantly screaming their Sailor Guardian names at their faces?
I am Sailor Moon! Sailor Star Fighter!
Sailor Star Maker.
Sailor Star Healer!
I am Sailor Pluto.
And I am Sailor Mars! I'm Sailor Venus!
Oh wow, there's Sailor Guardians here? Well, they're not gonna stop me from getting this obvious starseed from this high school football star. He totally has a starseed.
Oh, idiot.
This whole galaxy belongs to me, Sailor Galaxia. And if you don't want to end up like her, then stay out of my way.
There were 4 starseeds ready for the taking right in front of you! Dumb bitch.
Yeah, that was supposed to be your villain, ladies and gentlemen. The all-powerful Sailor Galaxia, one of the most powerful Sailor Guardians in their galaxy. But she can't figure out who on planet Earth has a powerful starseed. 90s writing really created idiotic villains, didn't they? But hey, it's not like our heroes are any smarter, because it's time for another round of You're a Sailor Guardian, but I don't trust you. Even though Sailor Moon and the others are fighting against evil Sailor Guardians, we run into the same issues with our heroes, having the same common enemy, but not willing to trust each other just for dramatic effect over common sense. In defense of the Sailor Starlights, they were just keeping their distance because they have one job: find Princess, protect, make sure she don't die.
You're mine!
Okay, well, I didn't say they were good at their job. They already know what Galaxia is capable of and don't want to involve themselves because it'll endanger their princess. However, there was a point where Sailor Moon was able to win their trust.
Until...
Oh, you knew this was coming.
Those 3 are trespassers from outside the solar system.
Oh my god, you two, stop. Just freaking stop it already. You two do this sort of shit to us all the goddamn time and it gets us nowhere.
Such beings can't be trusted.
I'm sorry, but where have you two been? You just gonna waltz on in here and say they're the bad guys when they've been literally helping us more than you two have? Yeah, thought so. And to think, you would actually know this if it didn't take you two freaking forever from jumping off your high horses. And did you just say they're from outside of our galaxy and can't be trusted? Girl, it's 2024. Do better. Also, where the hell is Pluto and Saturn? I seem to remember having 4 Outer Guardians, but we always bump into you two. No offense.
My name is Velma Dinkley, and I caught my first serial killer.
How did this trash get a second season?
I heard it was already made, so they just released it out of obligations. There's no real reason to have a 3rd season.
I hope you're right.
About teen romance.
And if I'm not,
Otaru, put it down. Okay, well, Sailor Pluto shows up sometimes. But yet again, we have another season where it's mostly Usagi and the Inner Guardians doing everything, while Uranus, Neptune, and sometimes Pluto step in to help, leaving Saturn at home alone to finish her homework. JK, she's probably playing some Animal Crossing or something. The only saving grace Uranus and Neptune have is this interesting plot twist. When they felt they had no other choice, Uranus and Neptune give up their starseeds and turn against the other Guardians, only to reveal they did it to get Galaxia's guard down and attack her using her own weapons. It's actually pretty clever. It didn't work. Nice try though. Saturn and Pluto died for nothing, but thanks anyways. The Inner Guardians are there. Their main attribute is debating back and forth with the three lights over their priorities. Ouch! Okay, I forgot that was a thing. The three lights may look like they're having some fun in their disguises, but they make it known that their priority is to find their princess. Meanwhile, Yaten and Taiki tend to judge the other girls for how they seem to prioritize their dreams and pleasures over their duties as Sailor Guardians. While that may seem to be true, the world they're living in is the world Usagi chose. As in, she would rather protect a world of dreams and equal opportunity than to rule as its guardian with the others to follow. They want to show that they can live peaceful lives and protect their planet anytime without having to give up their goals and ambitions, and that's something they strive to prove to the three lights. But these moments are saved for their own episodes, amongst an array of filler episodes full of...
so which card? This one.
and...
Look out!
and...
Huh? Hey! What are you doing?
The message just gets lost in the process within the random shenanigans our girls find themselves in, mostly contributed by...
Chibi! I thought you were out with the others!
With Chibiusa out of the picture, even though she's supposed to come back in the story, we have Chibi, a mysterious little girl who can barely talk, moves in with Usagi, and goes on randomly cute adventures, with the Guardians having to find her. She is cute and all, but what does she contribute to the story besides cutesy shenanigans?
Do you like anything?
Chocolate cake.
Well, that's not a fucking vegetable, is it?
She is a Sailor Guardian, contributing her skills to help Sailor Moon in the end, but here's the thing. In the anime, Chibi is revealed to be Galaxia's starseed taking a human form. Apparently, Sailor Galaxia lost in her attempt to defeat Chaos only to forfeit her starseed before Chaos could consume her. This starseed turns into the Light of Hope, aka Chibi, and she makes her way to find the only source that could defeat Chaos, Sailor Moon. It's an interesting idea showing how powerful Sailor Galaxia starseed really is, but at the same time, it creates a pretty big plot hole. Chaos gives Galaxia her bracelets in order to live and serve, but once Chaos is defeated...
Thank you, Sailor Moon. You have illuminated the entire galaxy with your light.
How are you two having this conversation right now? Like, it would make sense if she started to fade, only for Chibi to fly in and reunite with her, but no. Is, Galaxia a nobody or something? Because this is some Kingdom Hearts shit right here. As interesting as it is, I just prefer what Chibi originally was in the manga, and thankfully remained to be, in Cosmos. The Three Lights, aka the Sailor Starlights. They disguise themselves as males singing idols in order to use their songs to find their princess. When they transform, though... Fighter Star Power! Make And now you know why Season 5 never came to America until now. They could easily do some changes with Zoisite, Fisheye, Uranus, and Neptune, but this? There was no way they can work with this. Other than that, the Starlights, they're fine. Even though the 90s animation did nothing to make them appealing. Oh my god, look at their foreheads. It's no wonder Yaten was the popular one. He's the only one that can make this work. Seriously, say it looks like he's wearing a toupee. And you can watch the entire series of Sailor Moon stars on Taiki's forehead. What is with this animation? Anyways, their dynamic is similar to the relationships between them and the new Sailor Guardians in Season 3. Friendly as regular people, standoffish as Sailor Guardians, then aggressively cautious when their identities are revealed. Just another repeated formula. The only difference is the relationship between Seiya and Usagi, but we'll address that in a moment. As for their princess, she here, she dead, she back again. What do you want from me? That's it. I mean, I freaking love Princess Kaguya's design, but she's just a plot device transitioning us from a happy ending to the beginning of the Sailor Guardian War. That's it. Chibiusa only appears at the end of Nehelenia's story, so she's nowhere to be found here, unlike in the manga. Mamoru dies when facing against Galaxia, but not before saying something uplifting about his precious waifu.
They'll crush your evil plans. I know they will. You don't stand a chance against them. Usago.
That right there is some husband material. Green flags everywhere. We salute you, sir.
I salute you.
This leaves Usagi in a vulnerable place throughout this season. At least, it's supposed to. Since Mamoru's death is a mystery that Usagi didn't know up until the end, she spends her days just fighting monsters and hanging out with her friends. The closer we get to the final episodes, however, Usagi's at a breaking point, wondering why Mamoru hasn't contacted her at all. This then leads to Usagi's most vulnerable moment, with Seiya stepping in to try and help her, which then creates a sudden infatuation towards each other. But just like in Season 1, however...
You're definitely an odd one. Most girls would be over the moon if they bumped into me on the street.
Ew, why?
I'll sit behind you, bunhead.
It's Usagi Tsukito, not Bunhead.
Oh, so you're a moon bun. I'm free tomorrow. We should hang out.
What? Are you for real?
Pretty sure you're not busy.
Ugh, excuse you!
And now a tutorial to cover a couple's chemistry when you're writing in the 1990s. If they pick on each other, yell at each other, and outright hate each other, that must mean that they're in love. And that concludes our basic tutorial on couples chemistry in the 1990s. Any questions? No, have a good day. I mean, it isn't as obnoxious as it was with Usagi and Mamoru from way back when, but Seiya will tease and annoy Usagi for his own amusement, only to have feelings for her. I swear Usagi has a type in this series and I don't know how to feel about that. Seriously, Prince Diamond, this is literally all you had to do. Tease her, calling Dumpling Head, just pick on her constantly. She's yours, dude. Why didn't you try that? Other than that, Sailor Moon behaves like she usually does, happy-go-lucky until shit hits the fan and she has to fight through her tears to save the day. With how this season tends to copy the formula of past seasons, there really wasn't any tension or surprise throughout Stars, aside from Uranus and Neptune's sudden betrayal. I mean, for an all-out grand finale with Sailor Guardians facing off against other Sailor Guardians in an all-out war, it didn't really live up to anyone's expectations. The plot was ridiculously predictable, the filler episodes dragged any tension this story had, and the villains were incredibly idiotic. The 90s formula killed the Star Saga for me, and I think it deserved better. Which brings us to redemption. Everything is great, everything is grand, she's got the whole wide world in the palm of her hands. Everything is perfect, it's falling into place, there's no one that can wipe that smile off her face. Life's a happy song when Mamoru is there to sing a The war has begun. Galaxia is here. And unless you wake up, everything you know and love will be gone. Forever. Sailor Moon has pulled off several miracles with her rejuvenation powers. She has defied death and resurrected her comrades a couple of times. This time, however, it feels different. Corrupted. Wrong. Galaxia and her team invade Earth. Mamoru was killed right in front of Usagi's eyes. He faded into nothing but dust. Usagi is broken. No, He's not dead. He was just right in front of me. We're engaged. He's not dead. Usagi needs to focus. There is something wrong and it needs her attention before it's too late. Galaxia will not hesitate. She is out for blood. She is cold, ruthless, and selfish. Get up, Usagi. You've already lost 3 of your closest allies. There is no time to... One by one. Usagi isn't given a moment to think, a moment to process, a moment to breathe. Her friends are dying, one by one. And all because of her. What will she do? What can she do? Everything she believed in and fought for is slowly turning into ash. With this change in tone, this will be a challenge no one will forget. Usagi will be punished and pushed to her limit, having to decide on her own the fate of her entire future. If you remember in the first arc, Usagi was given the choice to either change the world and take over as its ruler, or to continue her life with her friends and family. She chose the latter, since it was a world full of happiness and peace, not just for her, but for all of her friends. And yet, one after another, Usagi has to face countless amounts of enemies, all seeking her power. It's debatable whether or not Usagi made the right choice. After all, her and her team would have been dedicated to protecting her world had they had chosen the former instead. But again, this was her choice. She wanted to have a normal life and use her powers to make sure everyone else could have a normal life too. But now, everything is at stake. And all because one Sailor Guardian wanted more.
Don't keep me waiting, Sailor Moon. It's time that we liberate our true strength.
The fascinating thing about our villains this time is their background. Galaxia comes from a far-off planet, too far to feel the embrace and warmth of the silver crystal's light. Although she is a Sailor Guardian, she's not particularly fond of her planet. Despite being its guardian, Galaxia saw her planet as trash. Soon after destroying it, she sets on a journey to find a more worthy place for her to thrive. She is then lured by an incarnation of chaos to the Galaxy Cauldron, the birthplace and graveyard to the stars. It is here she makes her palace and plans to create an empire strong enough to dictate all. A Shadow Galactic Empire. She invades planets one by one, offering them strength in return for their services. If the Sailor Guardian assigned to that planet rejects the offer, someone else will take it. That's where the other Guardians come in. They're not real Sailor Guardians. They were never born with their powers, but were willing to give up everything to have their chance. To be a Sailor Guardian is a blessing, given to those at birth. If you're not the chosen one, that's it. Tough luck. To these ladies, it wasn't enough. They wanted to be Sailor Guardians by any means necessary. An army of darkness was then forged by sheer determination and greed. Galaxia was going to become the most powerful guardian by slaughtering and destroying planets one after the other, after the other, after the other, until she was strong enough to face what was widely known as the strongest star in their galaxy. Even though the inner and outer guardians are not in this story as much, they do play a significant role with this story and Usagi's mental state. Soon after Galaxia's attack, Usagi finds herself in a state of shock, one that she cannot recover from, so it's up to everyone else to figure out what's going on. There's something wrong, and Usagi is acting strange. But the three lights are in town. Surely there's nothing wrong, right? We just defeated Nehelenia last week. Literally, last weekend, 10 out of 10 would recommend. So, let's have some fun. Let's go watch a concert and...
Everyone please proceed to the nearest exit in an orderly fashion.
Robot mice and new guardians. We can't catch a break, can we? While I did critique Uranus and Neptune's treatment towards the Starlights, I could say the same with how they're treated here. But it's handled differently. They're cautious and they're weary. Something is definitely wrong, and it's all happening right when these three just suddenly show up. They have every right to be suspicious. But they believe Usagi when she tells them they're only trying to help. And that's how it's done, stars. I also love seeing all of them before the war starts. The Inner Guardians are just enjoying their new high school lives. Haruka and Michiru join school just to see what it's like, and oh my god, they're in uniform, it's precious. Setsuna's a primary school nurse, and oh my god, and she's Noda Sotaru's mommy, and she's the popular one. Oh my god, everything about this is precious. With how you witness these characters grow, bond, and fight together, you can't help but smile when you see them living out their best lives in peace, which makes their deaths harder to bear. The Three Lights have the exact same plotline as I stated before, hopping around the galaxy looking for their princess. This time, however, their aim is to find her and get the heck out of there far, far away from Galaxia, and I do not blame them. They already know what Galaxia is capable of and have chosen to run away and hide in order to survive and protect their princess. But once they get to know Usagi and witness her dreams and power, they were more than willing to stand by her side in the upcoming war, even if it meant they couldn't survive. Princess Kakuyu actually has a character of her own. Good for her. That, and she also transforms into her Sailor Guardian form. This is one of many, many reasons why Cosmos is better. Look at her. Yes, queen.
Fashionista, how do you look?
Yeah, bitch. Work.
While she is someone the Starlights are fighting to protect, she takes it upon herself to warn Usagi of the coming dangers. She tells her of how she is very well known throughout the galaxy for being the brightest and most powerful star, hence why she felt the need to warn her. But seeing how Usagi was willing to fight despite everything that has happened to her and her friends, Kakuyu rallies her team and decides to take Sailor Moon straight to the Galaxy Cauldron. She bravely transforms and fights valiantly by Usagi's side, hoping for... Okay, if I make a list highlighting brutal deaths for heroes, that's on there. That was a blunt object shoved right through her spine. I can't! Chibiusa's here!
Thank you!
She makes her way back to the 30th century where Serenity needs her to stay and continue her training as a princess. Basically, her time as a Sailor Guardian is complete and she has no need to return to the past.
Until
her father and protectors are in a state of comatose. She doesn't hesitate to go back in time to help Sailor Moon with whatever is happening that is ultimately creating this in her future. And of course, she brings the girl squad.
Coming in from downtown! Dunk that ball, Noah!
Say what you want about how the Sailor Guardians and Mamoru are barely in these films, but I'd say they're all part of the narrative in regards to this endgame. Usagi made the choice a while ago to keep her world the way it is, giving everyone an equal chance to be happy. Even if this would invite more evil to invade her world, she would gladly fight in these battles if it meant keeping the peace. With Galaxia here, everything she's ever fought for is up for grabs, including her loved ones. As I mentioned in Stars, Usagi is pushed to her breaking point and left in a very vulnerable state. But comparing her state of mind to what Cosmos Usagi is enduring is indescribable. Mamoru dies in a plane, leaving Usagi to wonder what happened to him, versus going into mental shutdown when her beloved is killed right in front of her, watching each of her friends die one by one to Galaxia's one-shot bracelets, versus the brutal fatality she has to suddenly witness as they just turn into ash. And of course, the cherry on top of this trauma sundae. Her friends, comrades, loved ones are now being used against her. You thought Uranus and Neptune's betrayal was bad enough? Try having all of her friends being used to hurt her. This is how evil Galaxia is. It isn't just her using brute strength and power to one-up Sailor Moon, she's using mental torture to break Sailor Moon, to snuff out any sign of hope Sailor Moon still had deep down inside, to push Sailor Moon physically and mentally past the point of no return. Seeing her suffer through these grueling battles brings to light the true point of this arc. The cauldron is the birthplace and graves to all the stars. This is where her and her guardians come from, but it's also where all of her past enemies come from. Queen Metalia, Death Phantom, Pharaoh 90, Queen Nehelenia, and even Galaxia. If she can somehow put an end to this madness, she should do it, right? But what if by doing so, she basically shuts down the cauldron and prevents further stars from being born? Sure, it could slowly but surely bring an end to the galaxy and possibly the universe, but what's the point in maintaining this cauldron if more wars and battles will be made from it? From the cauldron brings light and darkness. Darkness seeks the light as light seeks the darkness. With this in mind, there will never, ever be a final battle. All the dark seeds will always fight to gain the light within Sailor Moon. She will never, ever stop fighting so long as she is alive.
Once this fighting is over, the possibility of a future still remains. I promise I'll make it happen. A future for us all. So don't you give up hope. Have faith in our future. If we find strength within our hearts, our star of hope will never burn out. And as long as the stars keep shining, everything will be all right. We won't lose this.
And there you have it. Sailor Moon knows that she'll have to keep fighting, but she will hold out for the future. If she can believe in a world full of love, peace, and friendship, she will fight endless wars to protect that future. And despite knowing what her enemies will do to her, she knows that they're only fighting to have what she has. She bears a strong, warm light that can protect everything she holds dear and has incredible friends willing to give everything to protect her. Why wouldn't they want that? Sailor Moon will keep fighting. She will move forward with open arms and do her best to protect the future she believes in with all of her heart. And this was something she needed to remind herself of.
Yes, you're right. I believe we won't lose. We're Sailor Guardians. There's nothing we can't handle.
Remember what I said about Chibi Chibi and stars? Well, in this version, she is Sailor Moon from a very distant future, where she becomes Sailor Cosmos. Despite believing she made the right choice, she comes from a future where chaos is reborn into a devastatingly strong guardian. This particular battle is one of the most devastating battles she has ever fought, making her question if she made the right choice all those years ago. Witnessing herself endure such pain and torment, but still holding out hope for her future, Cosmos can say for sure that she made the right choice. And there you have it. Like, what else is there to talk about and compare? In my opinion, Sailor Moon Stars took the gimmick and aesthetics from the manga and made another Monster of the Day shtick kind of a series we've seen enough of. Even though we have new Sailor Guardians and wonder what an all-out battle between Guardians would be like, it follows the same old formula with nothing new to impress us. It kinda makes you wonder why. Like seriously, all the studio had to do was... Oh, okay, yeah, that might have something to do with it. So, why would they just make another season that is exactly like the previous ones? Just our girls fighting the monster of the day, giving them a new MacGuffin to find, some brand new power-ups, other new characters, and filler plot lines until we get to the grand finale. Why is every season practically the exact same?
The anime has a slight male perspective to it, since much of the staff was male. My original version was written by a girl, for girls.
So, you're telling me that this whole time, the 90s anime was written through male editors thinking they knew how to make this show work? You know what? That actually makes a lot of sense. I mean, when you think about it, the 90s anime follows a very basic formula you'd see in any Super Sentai show, which was a very successful franchise at the time. So maybe they just took Naoko's characters and made a girl-powered Sentai-like series. I mean, when you compare the two, the manga focuses a lot on lore and character growth, allowing us to understand everything that is happening while giving us amazing characters for us to understand and relate to. Naoko even said that she based Usagi's personality on her own personality. The 90s anime, however, focused more on funny gimmicks and the battles. There are moments where certain characters are given time to grow and shine, but then they either stay the same or they're pushed aside. The Inner Guardians get their own episodes, then jump in when necessary, while giving us moments showing off their usual stereotyped personalities. Uranus and Neptune act like they've changed after Season 3, only to revert back to their bitchy ways in Season 5. Pluto and Saturn show up when needed, then they peace out. Mamoru... don't get me started. And you would think Sailor Moon would feel secure in her relationship with Mamoru since, you know, they have a baby together. Why have her still acting childish and enraged whenever Chibiusa teases her? Because teehee funny ha 90s formula, I guess. Overall, I can clearly understand the true differences with the 90s anime and Naoko's original story because of her statement. The 90s anime was created by a studio following a formula that usually works for a general audience, while Naoko was just trying to tell an epic story made by a girl for girls. I always said I respected Sailor Moon Crystal for recreating Naoko's true version of her story. It's not perfect by any means, like seriously, at the very beginning, the animation and pacing was rushed, while creating a story with barely developed characters. But I do think as the series kept going, we were given better developed characters, a more focused story, interesting lore building, and spectacular animation. All I wanted from Sailor Moon Cosmos was to bring Sailor Moon to her epic conclusion, and I really believe they did it. We were treated to an intense war between Sailor Guardians, witnessing Usagi being pushed to her breaking point, and, at the very end... spoilers to those who haven't read the manga or seen Cosmos. You've been warned. We finally get to see Usagi and Mamoru's beautiful wedding come to life, and it's everything I dreamed of. Buckets of tears. I'm so happy. So yeah, need I say more? It was hard comparing the 90s series in Crystal with all the other arcs, but this one, there is no comparison. Stars was another copy and paste of the past seasons, following the same formula we've seen enough of. Cosmos was the epic conclusion Naoko wanted Sailor Moon to have, and it was delivered beautifully. So, that's it. Unless we get another series sometime in the future, this is the final Sailor Moon old versus new video. And with my time watching and comparing both shows, I've seen nothing but love pouring into the Sailor Moon franchise. It's as if Toei eventually realized how beloved this franchise really is, and just unleashed these characters all over the place. Cafes, museums, limited time 3D shows, and even a place in the 2020 Tokyo Olympics as an official ambassador alongside 8 other iconic anime characters. Sailor Moon is an icon in her own right, and has been my favorite hero ever since I was a little girl. All I can say is that after all of these years, to Toei Animations, to Naoko Takeuchi, and even you, Sailor Moon, thank you for everything.
Oshimai dayo.
And to celebrate this grand finale, why don't you just click on that subscribe button for my channel that's conveniently placed on Taiki's forehead. I can't, I'm sorry. Alright guys, lay it on me. Do you think I'm being too harsh on the 90s version of Sailor Moon Stars? Which version of the Stars arc do you think is the best? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you again, Mikey, for mixing that song for me. It's always a pleasure working with you. Be sure to follow his Twitch channel on Shalane Insane, and remember, pink is his favorite color. Special thanks go out to my amazing Patreon supporters for helping me support my channel. I'm still able to make videos gushing over my love for Sailor Moon because of your amazing support and generosity. So thank you for everything. And of course, thank you everyone for watching this video. More awesome videos will be on the way, so stay tuned to Anime America.